Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scott Neal, and I'm your city manager in Edina, and I want to welcome you to the 2023 State of the Community event at the city's own Braemar Clubhouse. I want to recognize some of my team that are here as well. So if you are a city employee here, could you just stand and wave, please? Thank you. It's a strong, hardworking team, and I'm very proud of them. Before we start our formal presentation today that has a theme of Edina, a brighter shade of green, I want to introduce you to a very special guest that we have here today. Her name is Avi Fettig, and she was recently named one of 4 winners in the League of Minnesota Cities contest for Mayor for a Day. They do this as an annual event every year. School children submit essays, and we're going to hear Avi read her essay that won her this recognition for today. So, Avi, would you please join us?
Sometimes when people think about kids being mayor, they think about us making silly laws, doing silly things, and not taking it seriously. But I think most kids wouldn't do that. We are constantly being told that we are the future, but some things can't wait till we're older. If I were mayor for a day, my town would change for the better. First, I would give love and support to the homeless. I would put a reasonable amount of taxes towards funding homeless shelters and make new cheap buildings in forgotten areas, like old parking lots for people who had experienced homelessness. Minnesota is a beautiful place to live, and I would show that we need to take care of it. I would hold annual cleanup days to pick up litter in parks and other public areas. Schools would also be encouraged to keep their grounds clean. One other thing I would be sure to do is for all families to have the ability to recycle and compost their waste, as it would keep trash out of landfills. My other act as mayor would be to make a small museum. It would be mainly focused around the people of my town, of the past and the present. From families like the Yanceys, one of the first African American families to live in my town, to clubs like the Anti-Racist Collective, who speak out against hate in our community, I would make sure to show all different aspects of my town. I would also recognize many of the town workers, including police officers, firefighters, librarians, and public school staff. This would be a great place for kids to learn about our town and the people who are making it better every day. I would do as much as I could to make my town a better place. I would always try to show how blessed we are to live in our town, and how we could change it for the better. I would also listen to others' ideas and opinions. As Malcolm Forbes once said, diversity is the art of thinking independently together.
Avi is a 5th grader at Highlands Elementary, and she's here with her parents today. Thank you very much for that, Avi. And her principal, and all of her school staff. But we've also got a bag of city swag and gifts here that the mayor will give to you at the end of this. But congratulations, and thank you very much for joining us. It's now my honor to introduce some of the people, at least one of the persons that helped get Avi to where she is today, and that's our school superintendent, Dr. Stacie Stanley. Dr. Stanley began her tenure as the superintendent of Edina Public Schools on July 1st, 2021. Since joining the Edina community, she has immersed herself in all aspects of the city and serves on the Edina Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and is a member of the Rotary Club of Edina Morningside. Dr. Stanley has served in a variety of educational roles, including math teacher, school principal, director of curriculum, assessment and instruction, and support services. Prior to her recent appointment, she served as the associate superintendent of Eden Prairie Schools. She earned her doctorate degree from Bethel University in St. Paul, and she researched the impact of intercultural development on K through 6 administrative leadership practices. She is also a doctoral program adjunct faculty member at Bethel University and serves on the advisory board for the Hamlin School of Education. She lives with her husband and enjoys being an empty nester, power walking, and spending time with her grandchildren. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Stacie Stanley.
Good afternoon. It is great to be here with you. I kind of feel like after Avi's speech, I don't have anything to say anymore. She is absolutely amazing. And I'd like to thank Mayor Avi and Mayor Hovland for inviting me to join you today. There are so many great things that are happening that are greener, a brighter shade of green in Edina, and I'm pleased to have the opportunity to share that with you. I actually have several people here with me too. The folks who are amazing. I believe I have one of the best cabinet teams in education, and so if you are a member of cabinet, could you please stand? Thank you. I always like to start with our North Star. And our North Star is our vision for each and every student to discover their possibilities and thrive. And we lean into our mission in order to make that happen. Our mission for Edina Public Schools to be a dynamic learning community, delivering educational excellence and helping all students to realize their full potential. So through academics, activities, and opportunities, we encourage creativity, we foster curiosity, and we develop critical thinking skills. We support the educational journey of every student by creating a caring and inclusive culture that supports the whole student. We start our cabinet meeting out with that every day, every time we meet. We start any meeting out with that because that drives who we are in Edina Public Schools. So I was delighted to hear our theme this year, Edina, a brighter shade of green, and we are thrilled for the brightness that comes from having the Hornet logo back home. Our logo is back permanently, and it has been so fun to see our students, our alumni, our staff, our community members proudly wearing their Hornet logo. Quite honestly, I was going to wear my shirt today, but I figured it wouldn't quite be business dress. Just appreciate seeing all that swag out there and really happy to have the logo back. So before I move into our work around sustainability, such an incredibly important topic, I want to take some time to share about a few outstanding greener items that are happening in Edina Public Schools. First of all, our very own Edina Public High School has been named as the #1 best college prep public school, high school, 5 years running. As you can see, we have an overall A+ rating, and the outstanding opportunities our students have just opened doors to all 2,800 of our high school students. Another fine greener piece is that we have been awarded the AAA credit rating from Moody's for the 13th year. Now, fiscal responsibility is at the core of Edina Public Schools and our reputation, and we are proud to be only one of 3 districts in Minnesota. Everybody always says, who are the other 2, Dr. Stanley? Minnetonka and Wayzata. So, alphabetically though, it goes Edina, Minnetonka, Wayzata, right? So why is this important? A AAA rating is like an 850 credit score. You know, when you have an 850 credit score, you can walk into purchase anything on long-term credit and get the best interest rate. And that's what happens for us too. When we issue bonds, we get the best interest rate. That is a benefit certainly to the school district, and most importantly, it's a benefit to each one of you as our taxpayers. Another greener item of excellence in Edina Public Schools is our Edina Unified program. Our Edina Unified program pairs students with and without special needs in a variety of settings, both academic and social emotional. These experiences really help to foster deep relationships between students. It helps to build that sense of empathy and care, and it is about as close as our students will get to having themselves in one another's shoes. And I say one another's shoes because it is truly a reciprocal relationship in our Edina Unified program. Last year, assistant principal at Southview Middle School, Tammy Cook, was actually named to the Special Olympics National Education Leaders Network, and we are incredibly proud for all of her work. All right, raise your hand if you've ever been to a Theater for All performance. They are amazing, aren't they? These are performances that really help to immerse students with differing abilities with those who would be considered typically abled. And those performances rival anything that you will see at the Ordway, at the Chanhassen, at the Orpheum. They are absolutely incredible. I personally believe that Theater for All is truly an example of how we live out our vision for each and every student to discover their possibilities and thrive. So, last spring when I was here, I left you with my vision that was for every student, regardless of whether or not they're serviced with an individualized education program, whether or not they're serviced in the general education setting, whether or not their families speak another language at home, or whether or not their families have a lot of money or a little bit of money in their pocketbooks. When we say each and every in Edina Public Schools, we mean that. And so every student in the graduating class of 2027 and beyond will have future-ready experiences. They will have experienced an internship or an apprenticeship. They will have earned a micro-credential or an industry standard certification. And I shared that we would develop marquee STEAM programming and pathways as a foundation of that vision. In partnership with many of you, who I will refer to a little bit later, and our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Randy Smazel, I believe she's here, our Director of Community Ed and Strategic Partnerships, Dr. Anne Marie Leland, and our Director of Teaching and Learning, is Jody here? Jody D. St. Hubert. They have partnered to begin to bring this vision to life. So I want to talk about two key components that are really helping us to move forward, and they are our pathways work, as well as moving forward towards our marquee STEAM programming. So first of all, our Career and Technical Education Advisory Board has many of you who are in the room. And so if you are a member of our Career and Technical Education Advisory Board, would you please stand? Thank you so much. Dr. Anne Marie Leland and two of our EHS teachers, Shannon Seaver and Jody Ramirez, have partnered to develop a crucial, and when I say crucial, I mean crucial element of our 612 Pathways programming. Without the partners, we are not getting the information that we need to know what is happening in the different industries. They are so crucial. And to develop business partnerships. For instance, we now have a partnership with Target Corporation where students are going to have information technology internships, and a partnership with the city where 50 of our students will actually be engaged in internships and apprenticeships this summer. Also in December, we hosted the Stanford Design School in Edina to walk our STEAM design team through the design thinking model to help us envision what STEAM programming could look like beyond any of our experiences. You have probably heard many school districts have STEM schools, or many school districts are talking about STEAM. For Edina, we say that it is going to be marquee STEAM programming, and our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Ramsey Smazel, is guiding that design team through the next phases of that design. We were so delighted to be accepted into the Student Spaceflight Experiments program this year. It's an application process. We were the only school district in Minnesota that was accepted, and we were one of just 39 districts in the world that were accepted into this program. The Student Spaceflight Experiments program provides hands-on, real-life experiences for our students where they actually developed experiments to have the opportunity to have them sent to the International Space Station. We had students who developed experiments because they wondered, how would you grow animals for eating up in outer space? How would you have vegetables? How would you have gardening? And so we had several teams that actually applied. We had 175 teams that submitted. The individual, Jeff Goldstein, that oversees this program, said that that was the most that they have ever had in the first year of a district participating. We had 3 finalist teams. One was chosen, and their experiment is going to help us understand how to grow beans in outer space. And in the summer, their experiment will be sent to the International Space Station, and they will be working directly with the astronauts, directing them on the experiment, telling them what drop of water to put in, or there's a little knob on the little lab, which is literally just about this big. I believe that this epitomizes our mission for encouraging creativity, our mission to foster curiosity, and to develop critical thinking skills. So as part of the Student Spaceflight Experiments program, there's a mission patch competition. And remember, I say marquee STEAM programming. STEAM includes science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And so we were really delighted to learn about this patch program. We had over 1,000 students participate, and we just found out the other day that we have 2 finalists, one from the elementary and one from secondary, and there are their designed patches up there. What will happen is the chosen patch will go up on this mission as part of the payload along with the experiment that we're sending, and we're incredibly proud of that. I want to thank Dr. Smazel, our Assistant Superintendent, for his project management and oversight of Student Spaceflight Experiments program. So, under the oversight of our phenomenal co-project management team of Randy and Anne-Marie and Jody D. St. Hubert, our career pathways model continues to develop. Thanks to the creativity of Dr. Leland and her team, this summer we will launch digital badging in the elementary summer programming. So I want you to imagine future Edina Public Schools students who might earn a badge in entomology, which is the study of insects, in case you were wondering, a micro-credential in hydroponics, and then maybe they'll earn a certification in landscape technology. Or maybe at the elementary level, they will earn a digital badge in studying aviation and how to create paper airplanes related to physics. Maybe in the middle school, they'll earn a micro-credential in the use of drones. And then at the high school level, they would have the opportunity to earn a private pilot certification. All of those items are not future thinking. They're all on the table right now. My team is doing some incredible work to make sure that we bring incredible experiences to ensure that we have marquee STEAM programming and 612 pathways that open the doors for learning. So I'm delighted to announce that Edina Public Schools was awarded a $100,000 Youth Skills Training Grant. We are just one of 12 school districts to receive this grant, and I want to give kudos to Dr. Anne-Marie Leland, who served as the lead grant writer, and to all of the EPS staff who were involved in developing the grant. This grant will support the aforementioned 612 pathways and work as we move closer to my vision for the graduates of 2027. Again, we're starting this out with a partnership with the City of Edina, who will allow 50 EPS students this summer to complete internships and micro apprenticeships. We are really proud of our amazing staff for working diligently to create these opportunities for our students, and just look forward to being able to share more and more of what comes up in the future. So now we are going to transition into our green efforts around sustainability. First of all, I really want to thank everyone for the community collaboration. When I say thank, it's thanking you for pushing us in Edina Public Schools to think differently, to stretch ourselves around sustainability. Are there any members of our Go Green Advisory Committee who are in the room? I see some hands, raise them high. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you for your efforts and the time that you give. And then, do we have any of our Project Earth students here today? Project Earth is a club at the high school. Oh my gosh, these are just a set of dynamic leaders in our community that seek to advance the sustainability efforts in our district. So, let's talk about Edina Public Schools sustainability by the numbers. We have 1,684 solar panels that are installed. They are at Cornelia and at EHS and the bus garage, and they provide 682.2 kilowatts of energy. This is expected to save 530 tons of carbon dioxide. These sites were specifically selected because they were identified as being in the optimal location, the conditions of their roofs, and the ability to hold the solar array panels. What's really great is the unused solar energy at Cornelia is actually distributed back into the power grid and contributes to the available power in the surrounding neighborhood. We are all familiar with LED lighting. Many of you have them in my home, or in your home. I have them in my home. We are 100% LED, and I just got an update from Eric Hamilton, our Director of Building and Grounds. We are fully LED at our transportation department, at the Edina Community Center, at Highlands, and at Creek Valley and Concord. We all know that this significantly reduces our energy bills, and more importantly, it reduces our carbon footprint. LEDs don't contain any toxic materials such as mercury, which make them more eco-friendly, and they generate less heat, reducing the amount of energy that's used. We also have a 30% reduction in commercial fertilizer usage. And you might say, what? What does that have to do with anything, Dr. Stanley? Well, the reduction of the use of the fertilizer impacts fertilizer runoff, which can pollute water sources and contribute to algae blooms. And it really helps to improve soil health. And then finally, we are really working to reduce our use of salt for snow and ice management. We know that reducing salt actually has the greatest benefit related to runoff. We know that the amount of salt that is reduced will impact what ultimately builds up in streams and rivers and groundwaters. And we know that it lessens the salinity of local aquatic systems and improves water quality for drinking supplies. All right, so something that we're also proud of, and I talked to Eric about this, in 2013, we had no buildings that would be considered Energy Star certified. We now have 5 buildings that are considered Energy Star certified. Energy Star certified buildings save energy, save money, and help protect the environment by generating fewer greenhouse gas emissions than typical buildings. To receive this designation, a building must meet strict energy performance standards set by the EPA, and certified buildings perform in the top 25% in terms of energy usage to similar buildings nationwide. I've talked with Eric about this quite a few times, and he explained to me at our middle schools it's going to be kind of tough because buildings that have pools in them, it's very hard to get those certified, but he is continuing to work on many different things. So finally, what's next? What comes next for us? I have been working with our business director, Mert Woodard, to begin to explore partnerships to increase the use of solar panels in our district. He actually had a meeting late last week that he came back really excited about for some opportunities that we would have to do that. We want to explore funding sources to add electric buses to our fleet and to update our infrastructure so that we can charge those buses. There are many grants that are out there, and our students send me those grant opportunities all the time. And I do forward those on to Mert and to Eric. And really, the initial grants are designed to really reduce the pollution in major cities. And so Edina, as a first-ring suburb, even though we're super close to Minneapolis, we often, when we apply, we are not awarded those grants. The buses cost anywhere between $320,000, $450,000, and the infrastructure will be about $1 million to put that in. So we will definitely continue to work on that, and I would like to see in the next decade that we would at least have 3 or 4 buses. And then finally, I've asked my team to really analyze our current recycling efforts. I need to understand what our recycling efforts are to really understand how we might have a greater impact on the community as we really work to contribute to the climate action plan for the city. So with that, I will say that you can see that many aspects of Edina Public Schools are indeed brighter green. The state of Edina Public Schools is solid. We continue to define excellence in our upcoming dual language immersion, our STEAM programs, our Pathways programming will allow us to continue to innovate and elevate the excellence that Edina is known for. Thank you very much.
We have a brief IT interlude, so we're going to stretch now for a little bit. Thank you, Superintendent Stanley, for that presentation. It's now my pleasure to be able to introduce our mayor, Jim Hovland. Mayor Hovland has joined the Edina City Council in 1997. He served in that role until he was elected mayor in 2005. Today, he is Edina's longest-serving mayor in the city's history. He serves as the chair of the Municipal Legislative Commission, chairs the Transportation Advisory Board to the Metropolitan Council, and is the vice president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors Standing Committee on Transportation and Communication. He is also a member of the leadership team of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the Southwest LRT Corridor Management Committee, and the Greater MSP Partner Advisory Council. Mayor Hovland has served on the Edina Community Foundation's Board of Directors for more than 2 decades and is an active member of the Regional Council of Mayors and the Rotary Club of Edina Morningside. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Hovland. Jim.
We got there. I'm part of the transition team, killing a little time. But actually, it works out great because I was sitting here thinking and looking around the room, and thinking about how this town is so connected and all the things we have going on. I look at Erica and the school board, and I think, oh yeah, we got this going on there. And I look back at our city employees, in particular our public safety people. Back in December of 2020, when we had that attempted carjacking at Lund's Byerly's, our chief of police that we had hired from Brooklyn Park, who'd been up there for almost 30 years. I know he doesn't look like he's been in the business 30 years, but we were so fortunate that he was such a great communicator with everybody in our community. So, thanks, Dan. And so Chief Milburn was all over that. In January of 2021, we had a meeting of public safety people out in Eden Prairie. 7 mayors, including your mayor, participated in calling that meeting. Out of that was spun something called MN Heals, where we're working on some of the violent crime issues and the issues involving juveniles that are predominantly involved in auto-related crimes, whether it's auto theft, attempted auto theft, attempted carjacking and carjacking. So that's a work in progress, but we're making good progress. And I think in our town, knock on wood somewhere, that things have settled down. From a public safety standpoint and our emergency medical services, and I haven't even talked to the council about this, and usually at the end of our meetings we talk about concerns or things that have come up as issues, and the last 2 meetings I've forgotten to mention this and talk up our emergency medical people, but we had a 90-year-old relative of mine over for his birthday about a month ago. And we got through dinner great. All of a sudden, Dave, sitting across from Don, says, "There's something wrong with Don." And Don is just slumped over in the chair. And I thought, uh-oh, Don died on his 90th birthday at our house. And his daughter kind of tapped him and got him going. And then he lifted his head up, and then his head rolled all the way back, and his eyes rolled back to the back of his head. And so we got him on the floor. In the meantime, Lorraine's calling 911, and they were there, I think, within 5 or 6 minutes. And we had a big crew, because I got to tell you, I played the mayor card. When Lorraine was kind of talking to him on 911, I said, "Give me that phone." So I said, "It's the mayor." And I got it rolled. Well, anyway, it wouldn't have made a bit of difference because that's their usual response time. And they were so efficient and so caring and so good with him as he laid on the dining room floor. And, it turned out everything was okay. He needed a pacemaker. But on that dining room floor, they did a EKG. They read that out while he was on the floor, and they were sitting there with him, and one of the emergency medical people was talking to him. They did, blood pressure analysis. Everything looked pretty good. They loaded him up and took him to Fairview Southdale. And so thank you, Chief Slama, for the wonderful work you continue to do in our community around that issue. And there isn't a meeting period that goes by, I don't think, where we see in our correspondence some letter from somebody in the community who's been grateful for the emergency medical people that we have. So how are we doing?
We're ready to go.
All right. So there's a little story from Edina. And then let's not forget about Brian Olson, who has, we do the quality of life study every couple of years. And there's this organization that does it for us that does it for over 500 cities around the United States. We're number 1 in snow plowing. But his job doesn't get any easier because, as we're going to talk about today, when we talk about a cleaner, greener, brighter future, making sure we take care of the planet, keep it healthy, and keep everybody here healthy. We've got folks in our community that are concerned about the amount of salt that we use on the roads. And Brian and his team over time have been able to figure out how to cut the salt production or salt usage by 30% and still keep our streets in great shape. So it's that public safety, keeping people safe as they drive around, and also trying to positively affect the environment with the use of less salt is a big deal. And so he's managed that nuance quite well. So thank you for all that great work that you and your team are doing. So when Jennifer and Scott and I met, we talked about themes, and we haven't really talked much about in-depth climate change and what we're doing in Edina around this issue. And first of all, I want to, people have congratulated Jennifer. Where's Jennifer Venerat? She duck out? Where'd she go? Oh, there she is. She's unbelievable. What she did in preparation here for this with the script and the staging of everything. It's just, once the theme was selected, she went to work, and it's just incredible. So Jennifer, thank you for, and your whole communication team for the work that you do. So climate change, we all know this, but it presents one of the most profound problem-solving challenges of our time, demanding all of our attention, all of our collective abilities to keep the planet on which we live healthy and sustainable so that we all may thrive and future generations like ours can thrive. Climate change creates local impacts, and that is well understood. And cities like Edina have a significant role and responsibility to play with respect to greenhouse gas reduction, because cities produce 70% of those emissions that involve greenhouse gas production. So we take that responsibility seriously. And already in Minnesota, what we've seen we are experiencing shorter winters with fewer cold extremes and more heavy and extreme precipitation. And to that issue, I would say, have you all seen that project that we're doing at 42nd in France? The Weber Park project, we'll call it. Morningside is the lowest part of Edina, and over time we've been seeing that our precipitation levels are going up and up and up. So we have a massive stormwater management system project led by Chad Milner's team up on that area of Weber Park. It's going to end up being a beautiful park, but it's going to be a fantastic stormwater collection area, so that if we do experience these continuing precipitation events that are larger, more difficult to deal with, we're going to be able to keep Morningside safe. And it's costing millions and millions of dollars to do it, but it's well worth the effort, and it's going to be something really special when it's done, and it's going to be a model for the country. So cities like Edina have been taking urgent action in tackling climate breakdown, improving air quality, and working on creating a greener, healthier, and more resilient city. And that is what you're going to hear about today in a little bit more detail. And we know, for instance, in our climate action plan, we're going to talk about that in a minute, that if we weren't doing these things, here's what we could expect by 2050. We could expect 4 to 5 degrees warmer temperatures on average. We could have 15 to 20 more days that are above 95 degrees. We could have a load demand on Xcel Energy. Michelle Swanson, thanks for being here. For air conditioning, increased load by 70% because of the warmer weather change. And we would have 30% more precipitation events. So just to quickly comment on Xcel as I look at Michelle, think of a company that makes their money on energy generation, and they stand up and they say early on, by 2050, we're going to be all clean energy. Everything we sell is going to come from a clean source. It's pretty remarkable. So every time I see you, I think of that, and I want to congratulate Xcel. We're taking the lead in the nation on that. So you should all know that we've already made progress on greenhouse gas reduction in Edina. In 2011, Edina was one of 5 pilot cities in the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency's Green Step Cities program. And by 2021, through the efforts of a lot of people in our community and our city staff, we obtained the highest level possible in that program. Also, between 2013 and 2019, the city was able to decrease its greenhouse gas emissions by 1.5%, while growing our local economy by 16.8%. That's a pretty remarkable achievement. We knew still that there was so much more to do, so that is when our Energy and Environment Commission, staffed by Grace Hancock — is Grace here today? Yeah, there's Grace, who is just a phenomenal employee like the rest of our staff, staffed by Grace Hancock and led by Hilda Martinez of the Energy and Environment Commission. And those of you who serve on Energy and Environment Commission now or in the past, raise your hand or stand up, please. Paul? All right, Mindy, stand up too, would you please? Because you're actively involved in all of this. Yeah, Julie, thank you. In fact, I will give, thank you. Paul, I would say, is our leading conservationist. He's the father of environmental activity in the city of Edina, and one of the preeminent leaders of it in the state. And have you skied that race yet? Has that been held?
42.
Number 42, you got through.
The Berkey.
Yeah, the Berkey, 42. He skied every one of them. So let's talk about what we've been working on. When the City Council adopted the Climate Action Plan, and here it is, one of my props today, Climate Action Plan. We had some residents come. I think we've got that slide coming up here. Paul and some others are in that slide. We had residents come to that City Council meeting that night and had that sign that said Edina, a deeper shade of green. We on the council loved that sentiment, and since we are focusing on renewable energy, we have tweaked that for the presentation today of a deeper shade of green to focus on the brighter future that we want to have. And we just heard about some of the ways that the school district and our community's young people are working on the environmental issues. And today we'll tell you about some of the things the city's doing. So the city's Climate Action Plan outlines strategies and actions to support increase our climate resilience and reduce local greenhouse gas emissions to further advance the city's sustainability goals. The Climate Action Plan is our roadmap to environmental well-being by 2030. There are many parts of the plan. I think there were over 200 elements to it that resulted in 8 subsections through 36 strategies supported by 200 actions that give us the guide, the roadway, and the guide to be able to be a healthier environmental city by 2030. So let's look at some of the things that we're doing here in the city of Edina. And we want to first talk about some of those strategies, and the first one relates to what we're doing with respect to our fleet, our city fleet. One of our goals is to electrify the city's fleet over time. The city has approximately 265 vehicles. To date, 37 of them are electric or hybrid, and just this winter we have begun testing the use of such vehicles in public safety. Our most recent episode of Beyond the Badge tells the story. Let's take a peek at that video.
As an officer, my first squad car was a Crown Victoria, and it was a boxy, big, clunky car, and it was very hard to maneuver. So to see that evolve, and now we have all these options with the electric vehicles, it's just astonishing how far things have come along. So this is our new Ford Lightning. I know right now this is the only one that's in operation in the state. It is by far the most responsive, fast vehicle that I have ever driven, and it's all battery powered.
A big portion of pollution, of greenhouse gas emissions, is vehicles. The city has a goal as part of the Climate Action Plan to fully electrify our light-duty vehicles. So that's our cars, that's trucks, that's vans that residents might see on the road from our different departments.
So unique to this vehicle is the trunk is actually in the front where the engine would normally be in a regular pickup truck. And basically the essentials that a normal patrol car would have placed in the back. So inside of the back of the vehicle here is obviously where we're going to put prisoners in transport or persons that we have apprehended. It's outfitted with a cage which protects the driver up front and passenger.
The city has about 300 vehicles and pieces of equipment in its inventory across all departments. Around 200 of those, the city has a goal to electrify by 2030.
I'm a larger person, and to fit in here, it's very accommodating inside. So the ergonomics are very nice. 101 dispatch. I'll be out at Southdale Mall on a security check.
2515, go for it.
It feels just like a regular truck. I drive a truck as a personal vehicle, and this thing handles very similar to it. The only difference that I've noticed is that this thing has a lot more torque than my pickup does. This being a heavier truck with the all-wheel drive, it handles fantastic in the snow. I am usually on the road about 11 hours, and that's constantly driving around or stationary monitoring traffic enforcement. So my range this morning was 190 miles. I am well over halfway through my shift, and we haven't even used a quarter of the power yet.
Electric vehicles do cost more up front, roughly 10% more, but immense savings are seen on the operations side. We're not purchasing fuel. Electricity is a much cheaper fuel source than gasoline or diesel, and the maintenance is much lower because there's not an internal combustion engine in the vehicle itself. So over the life, it's actually a more cost-effective investment by the city than a typical gasoline vehicle. So this is the kind of charger that the city is installing around the community at our different facilities and land we own. But how it works, there's 2 ports on each charger, so 2 vehicles could charge at the same time. When residents see a city electric vehicle around the neighborhood in their community, they can know that that vehicle is not putting out pollution that might affect the air quality that residents are breathing. Police vehicles especially spend a lot of time sitting and idling can put a lot of pollutants in the air.
It kind of bridges a gap between the community. They see a lot of change, and that we're trying to better ourselves and go green with something like this vehicle here. And just in the last couple of weeks that I've driven this vehicle, I've been approached by numerous people in the community, and they want to know more about the vehicle and what it is, how it operates, and what it runs on.
It's pretty popular with the officers who get to drive it. Anytime new technology comes to the city, it's really important that it's vetted honestly and accurately, and it's not always a win. Sometimes the city tries new things and it doesn't work out. So staff is pretty excited by the Lightning. It handles well, it holds its charge well.
By trying new vehicles and implementing new technology, it really helps me do my job.
The police department has the highest number of light-duty vehicles on the road. They also drive the most, and so it's really important to see that department adopt this technology, try it out, figure out how it can meet their needs and better serve the residents of Edina.
I was at the midwinter meeting of the U.S. Conference of Mayors in January, and the mayor of Gresham, Oregon, is the vice chair of the Transit Committee. So I'm the vice chair overall of the Transportation and Communications Committee. But he had just gotten a new white Lightning pickup truck. He said it was the best vehicle he'd ever owned by far. And the one he'd had just before that was one of those Mach-E Mustangs, which we also have in our police department fleet. And I don't know how that's working out, but I think we'll hear about it at some point in time at the city council. So this green fleet plan that we have also increases public access to chargers. Grace showed you one of the chargers, and we hope over time removes barriers to EV use in Edina. So today, public chargers are available at City Hall and the Public Works and Park Maintenance Facility, in the North Ramp at 50th and France, and then there's one behind the Edina liquor store up by Grandview, back in that alleyway between the parking ramp and kind of the liquor store back in there. And we've got more planned for the city's recreational enterprises between now and 2025. And then new fire station number 2, which we're going to talk about in just a second, is also going to have chargers open to the public. So we've also got a sustainable buildings policy, and the reason we do that is because buildings are responsible for emissions about 60% of the emissions, I should say, that occur in the city are occurring within our buildings, our commercial and municipal-owned buildings. So we have the sustainable building policy that we put into place that requires our new buildings to meet or exceed the International Green Construction Code, and the state of Minnesota's what they call B3 energy goals to reduce and renew our building energy needs. And then we're going to put up a photo of that's the existing fire station number 2. The city's next new building that will meet these standards will be the new fire station number 2. The current site of fire station number 2, as you all know, is down by the Southdale Y at 7335 York. And that's too small to be able to expand operations there for what we need to accomplish in that Southdale district, where we've had some of our population increases. The city has purchased a site for a new fire station number 2 at 4401 West 76th Street in Edina. It is working now to design that facility. We'll be able to add a second advanced life support crew with ambulance and fire engine company at that site, plus our new public health operation will be there as well. And when compared to its current location in York Avenue, moving fire station number 2 will provide a much more balanced coverage area, better serve the growing needs of the community, and provide a better response time in the greater area of the city, all of this from a new state-of-the-art efficient building. This month, we are going to look for feedback from the public on the building design for the new fire station. We will host a Cocoa and Concepts event 5 to 7 p.m. on Thursday, March 16th at Centennial Lakes Park. That's 5 to 7 p.m. March 16th at Centennial Lakes Park. Cocoa and Concepts will serve free hot cocoa and have activities for kids who can give their own thoughts on fire station number 2, while parents and other residents can browse the design concepts and give their own feedback on this proposed fire station number 2. We'll also collect input online at bettertogetheredina.org, so keep that site in mind as well. This month, the project team for the new fire station will also come before the Planning Commission and the City Council for sketch plan review. What you're seeing up there on the screen now is just kind of a blocking exercise to see how it fits on the property, which is, as I recall, about an 8-acre site. And so what you see on the screen is not the proposed design for the building. It's just one of several sketches for the Planning Commission and the City Council to review when we talk about the basic site plan and the building orientation. And we expect that by the time we're finished with all of this activity around fire station number 2, it'll be open sometime in 2025. So next, let's talk about tree and tree canopy and what we're doing around the enhancement of our community with respect to adding more trees to the landscape. As we told you last year, one of our goals was to increase tree canopy in the city of Edina to 40% by 2030, up from an estimated 35.9% in the 2021 ground cover survey. You might recall that last year we talked about planting 1,000 trees, and so far we've got about 700 of those trees planted, and those are all on city property. And we'll finish that work this coming summer, spring and summer, and these trees will all be maturing nicely by 2040. We have used ARPA funds from the federal government to pay for many of these trees, but we have a handful of generous residents who have also stepped up to help with our tree planting efforts. Andy Warzak, is Andy here? Andy, yeah, would you stand up please while I read this? Get this, Andy has given the city money twice a year for the past 5 years to plant trees. Last year, his donation paid for 10 conifers and other trees at Strackower Park. So Andy, stand up again, please, so we can all kind of thank you for that commitment to our tree canopy. It's a wonderful thing. So now we're also thinking about, well, how can we get the public more involved? How can we get people to put more trees on private property? So we just approved at the last council meeting a partnership with an organization called Tree Trust. So what we're going to do here is sell 200 trees in 10-gallon pots. The trees will be 4 to 8 feet tall. There'll be a variety of species. Residents can pay $50 for a tree this size. And then with that, the trees will start to go on sale the middle of this month, the 13th of March. You can visit treetrust.org for more information. And then the tree pickup is going to be between June 3rd and June 5th. So keep that in mind, too, if you want to plant some new trees on your property. This was really quite a bargain for a tree that size. And then, of course, we've also been thinking about we have a tree ordinance, but it hasn't been strong enough, so we've been working on that as well. So to better protect existing mature trees and preserve the character and beauty of Edina's tree canopy and the neighborhoods, and help mitigate the loss of trees when they've been removed, The city recently amended its tree ordinance, and it has 3 key elements to it. And I think they're going to put something up on the screen on that. So we're designating larger trees as protected or heritage trees, and each status requires a much more significant replacement if those trees are removed. Prioritizing the critical root zone around a tree to be undisturbed during construction, and requiring a 36-month financial guarantee to ensure tree replacement rules are followed. So here's the way that 36-month financial guarantee works. And I think they've got an example up on the screen there. So the example is a 40-foot conifer. The ordinance requires that the security payment, the financial guarantee, be 110% of the value of the tree at $500 per lineal foot. So that creates $22,000 in terms of a financial commitment for 36 months on a tree that size. Now, you could replace that 40-foot tree with 4 10-foot trees under the rules, but that money is going to stay with the city until the tree has been planted and the project's completed. You get half the money back, and then 3 years later, if the tree is still healthy, you'll get the rest of the money back. You know, the city can't fight climate change or complete the climate action plan all by ourselves. So we're also working to bring residents and businesses along with us. Edina businesses and institutions are already doing their part to help Edina meet its climate action goals. We want to say thanks, and we want to help you further. The city is using its Climate Action Fund to help you get down to business. So you can do the following. You can schedule a no-cost energy audit. You can get money for projects that lower your utility bills and receive cost-sharing funding to move away from natural gas and towards renewable energy. You will want to pay attention to this chart that's on the screen. It's called the Community Climate Action Fund. It's a cost-share program where the city reimburses residents and businesses for some of the cost to complete high-impact energy efficiency projects based on a recent building audit or install on-site solar after completing energy efficiency improvements. And I'll give you some examples of that. If you want to install an induction stove in your building or in your home, you could receive a $500 check from the city, $750 if you live in what's called a census tract area. If you install a heat pump water heater, you're eligible for $800 to $1,000 of the cost being reimbursed by the city. And the city will pay up to 10% of the cost for solar installation if you've already completed certain energy efficiency projects at your home. In the first year of the Climate Action Fund, 14 residents have already taken advantage of that opportunity with respect to some of the items in these different categories. Next, you should know that our businesses are also making a distinct difference as we work to reduce our greenhouse gases. We want to recognize several businesses that are working to make a difference on the GHG reduction. The Energy and Environment Commission Green Business Outreach Program celebrates green and sustainable actions promoted by local businesses, and they fall into different categories: gold, silver, and bronze. So I want to recognize businesses in that group, and then I'm going to have them stand up. First of all, the gold category recognizes green businesses that are the following: accredited investors, wealth management, Galleria Shopping Center, thank you, Galleria, Lunds and Byerly's, Southdale Center, Western National Insurance Group, and Wooden Hill Brewing Company. In the silver green business category are Belmont Partners, Edina Community Lutheran Church, Gateway Bank, Grandview Tire and Auto, Interlochen Country Club, Joan Roysam Insurance Agency, Soundgate Health Hearing Clinic, and Waterfront Financial Group. And in the bronze category are Close Mentor, Ellingson and Ellingson CPAs, Lush Cosmetics, Serge and Jane, and Starbucks at 50th and France. If any of those businesses are present, please stand up and let's give them a round of applause. So applications for 2023 Green Business Recognition opened on Earth Day, April 22nd, and will close on the 4th of July. So if you're interested, make sure you stop at the Energy and Environment Commission's table and learn more before you leave today. And now let's talk about organics. I know Avi talked a little bit about the importance of that in her talk about if I were mayor for a day. So we're going to follow on from what Avi has set the stage for here and talk about organics recycling, which we think is one of the easiest ways for residents and businesses to participate in securing and obtaining our sustainability goals. You know, we were first motivated to do this by the county, who said the landfills are filling up, and they said you got to do something about this, and you got to go to an organics program. We came into that program about a year ahead of other cities within the metro area, but now we're doing a good job, I think, on the organics recycling, of course, which directs food waste from the trash to be fully recycled in the compost, and is an effective way of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So here's a data point for you. Since the residential organics recycling program began, we have processed over 3,000 tons, or over 6 million pounds of organic material that's been diverted from the landfill into the facility where we're making this into something that can be usable again. So if you ever wondered what happens to the organics recycling material that you put out for VEERCANT to pick up, so the food scraps are turned into soil at what's called SMSC Organics Recycling Facility down in Shakopee. We take that composted material, bag it up, here it is. We bring it over to certain drop locations in Edina, and it goes out right away once they put the notice out that this is available. And residents like Russ Stanton, do we have there's Russ. There's Russ. He won the State Fair Blue Ribbon with a 3-pound tomato that he grew using our organics material that he had at home that he had picked up from the city. So Russ, congratulations. I hope you have good luck again next year. There's room for all of us to recycle more and reuse more and reduce waste significantly. And now we're going to play a little game that Jennifer's put together. You saw those cards on the table. Each of you has 3 sets of cards on the table. One says trash, another says recycling, the third says compost organics recycling. So I'm going to hold up various items, and after I hold up each one, work as a team and raise the sign indicating how you think it should be disposed of. So here's the first one. It's a pizza box from Domino's, and it says recyclable. So is this trash recycling or compost organics recycling? All right, everybody's got, Jennifer, do we have prizes for, no, I guess we got too many winners, don't we? The answer is that it's organics, organic recycling. It's tricky because the box says recyclable on the top, but if a pizza has been in it, it can't go to recycling. It needs to go into your compostables or organics recycling. So here's the next one. It's one of these Tetra packages, Tetra Pak. What do you think is the future for that thing? So I'm going to give you a hint. Tetra Pak cartons are made up of plastic, bioplastic, cardboard, and aluminum. They hold broth and juices. Okay. Recycling is the answer. Recycling is the answer. This might be a little bit tricky too. How about this black plastic container?
What number is on it? What number is on it? Reusable.
All right, we got that. Trash. Everybody's got a trash. That's right. In Edina, plastics with the recycling symbol 1, 3, or 5, Michael, are recyclable, except if it's black. Black plastics cannot be recycled and should go to the trash. How about a store receipt? A retail store receipt? Where does that go? Okay. Yeah, people are savvy in this room. It goes in the trash. Why does it go in the trash? It goes in the trash because it's thermal paper and it can't be recycled. This looks easy. What about this one, this aluminum can? All right, everybody's got this one. But here's a little bit of additional information. Aluminum cans, while they are recyclable, don't crush them. Because recyclables in Edina are mixed together, when aluminum cans are squashed, the sorting facility has difficulty handling them. Don't crush them. If they are too small, they fall out of the sorter. So don't crush them. So you all did great on that. So we're trying to expand that organics program in Edina, and we're really excited about that. If you want to know more about this opportunity on recycling or anything related to organics recycling, get a hold of Twyla Singh. And Twyla's number, you can reach her through City Hall, 952-927-8861, or through the city website. And then, do we have a plastic bag in here? One of those film plastic bags? This is something for all of you to think about. We need your input on this. We had a really good report come out of the Energy and Environment Commission about, we asked them to look at those film plastic bags like you get at the grocery store or the drugstore. All right, all right. So, we said, is there some way not to have those things, that we have them in Edina? Because they produce all kinds of environmental issues. They last 900 years. I don't think they put out much greenhouse gas, but we found out from a study from our Energy and Environment Commission folks that not only did they recommend something with respect to the plastic bags, and I can tell you right now, they cannot be banned like they can in some states. They cannot be banned in Minnesota. The plastic bag industry has done an effective job of going to the legislature to prevent the banning of those plastic bags. So what are people in other cities doing? Like I called the mayor of Evanston, Illinois. I said, what are you doing with this plastic bag issue? He said, oh, it's kind of a nightmare. Because it's really, small businesses rely on them, and the small business has really been having a tough time, and they don't want to do anything about it right now. Others are really adamant about, let's do something about this when we have a chance, let's charge for them. So in some states, they're charging for these bags. And the proposal from the Energy and Environment Commission was that we charge a nickel, that the retailer providing the bag charge a nickel for the bag, just like they do in Europe, like they do in California, or a paper bag. And that led me to kind of sit up straight in the meeting, because I take the paper bag and use it for recycling and dump it in the recycling, and they said, no, the paper bag produces more greenhouse gas in the dump, in the landfill, than you'd expect. So that's got to be charged. You got to charge for a paper bag too, to try to encourage people to bring their own bags. So it's I'm getting discussions from people in our community on both sides of the issue, and the city council has asked for an ordinance to be drawn up. But we'd like your input on some of these issues. They're important issues. And so you can get to us on bettertogether.edina.org. Go there and tell us what you think about this idea. And if you want to get a copy of the report, which was very, very well done, you can get that too, I think probably off the city website. And then finally, one more thing to talk about, and that is used clothing. So we're going to do what we did last year, which is a clothing swap on April 20th. Out at the Braemar Backyard Rink. It's going to be from 4 to 8 p.m., again on April 20th. You can come and swap clothing, and what we don't swap out, we're going to give away. It's going to get taken and recycled in some form or fashion, or taken to ARC or some other place. So keep that in mind too, that if you've got some clothing that you'd like to part with, we can take care of that. Now, one more thing to do before we wrap up today, and that is, I just mentioned Dick Crockett's name. So Dick Crockett, that I've known for more than 20 years, much more than 20 years, but for the past 20 years, he's served, as many of you know, as the executive director of the Edina Community Foundation. And over those two decades, Dick has been all about making Edina a better and better place for us to live and call home. Dick has much to be proud of in that 20-year period, but he shared with city staff what he thought he was most proud of, and those were three things. The first thing was growing the community impact program in the city of Edina. Dick is just a great connector between people and organizations, and in those 20 years, the foundation has served as a charitable giving partner for more than 140 community nonprofit groups. So if you've got an idea for something that you'd like to support, but you don't want to form your own 501c3 and spend $7,000 on a lawyer, call Dick. You can come into the Community Foundation and have that fund there, that Community Impact Fund. And as I just provided to you, there's been over 140 of them that have come to the Edina Community Foundation during Dick's period of leadership. Currently, there are still more than 80 active partners in that category. Number two, Dick also helped start the Edina Reads program in 2005 after recognizing the need for a reading program in the city. Edina Reads encourages active reading, lifelong learning, and thoughtful conversation. And really, all of that is just a reflection of Dick. He's a reflection of that program. He's an active reader, a lifelong learner, and ever thoughtful and wise in every conversation that any of us have ever had with him. In fact, this week he stopped in at my office and he gave me a book, Animal Farm. He said, this was a book written in the year you were conceived. And I appreciate it so much, getting it from Dick. And then the third thing is that he's got a highly aesthetic sense and a passion for art, which is reflected, I think, in all of the public art that we've got in Edina, and there's more to come. There's already been $500,000 worth of sculptures and pieces of art put out in the community that have been so much appreciated by all the residents in our community and have contributed so much to the quality of life in Edina. And all of those have been contributed through the foundation. So I want to have you help me thank Dick Crockett, and I'm going to have Dick come up here because we have some special thing for him. And I'm showing it to you right now. I know he's going to be shocked when he sees this. But you know, I'm not done. You know, this is a medieval sort of tradition, and a key to the city is really a civic honor. And this medieval tradition is meant to confer a sense of trust and honor. It grows from the medieval walled city where gates were guarded during the day and locked at night. The key symbolizes the freedom of the recipient to enter and leave the city at will as a trusted friend of city residents. Couldn't think of a better place a better person to receive this award. A trusted friend of every city resident. Thank you, Dick. And I know you didn't want to say anything, but maybe you want to comment quickly?
Both the city and the chamber and the two Rotary clubs have been great partners of the Edina Community Foundation over these 20 years. They've been financial supporters, they've been collaborators in many of our programs. So it's been an honor to serve. It's been very satisfying to have so many people support the foundation and all that is good about Edina. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks again. Yeah. Dick's a great collector of memorabilia, and this will be a wonderful thing for him to have. Well, that's it, folks. 2023 State of the City, and we look forward to seeing you all next year. Thank you.